She can go unblockable, unstoppable, and indestructible. And to make it even better, they're not buffs, they're passives. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to what is the 26th edition of the Champions Rankings and Tier List. I cannot believe it has been that long, but that's not why you've tuned in. Remember, like every other preface to these sorts of things, this is my opinion, and this is based solely on the champions who will best efficiently help you clear content. This is for content. For those interested in a Battlegrounds tier list, DLL's Essential War Attackers, Nerds, BG Rank Up, Top 10 Play, Slayman's Horseman rankings, and then Essential MCoC Knowledge. You can see that in the upper right-hand corner. Those are all very different things, and there are links to those off of this spreadsheet, which will be linked in the description. And then again, if you do decide to go that route and look at the spreadsheet, which will be linked, you can see, you can click on these links that are on there. Those will take you to playlists on my channel that will help you see videos that will tell you about these champions, what they're all about. And then the last thing I always want to mention is this game is so big and so complex. No champion will always be better than another. It just is not possible. Additionally, you've got to like the champions. If you don't like them, I really don't think you should rank them up. This is meant to be a snapshot, a fun conversation for you to be like, hey, what does Vega and the MCoC Illuminati think of Colossus? I just pulled him. You see the ranking relative to other champions, and then you go and do your own research. You read them, you watch these videos, and then you're like, I like them. I think they're going to add something to my roster. I'm going to have fun with this game, and I'm going to beat it with Colossus. All right, that is the point. Now, there were no buffs this month, and we, and myself and the MCoC Illuminati, did a large revamp. I think it was last month and the month before. So we don't have quite as much to talk about this month, so this one will be a little bit shorter, but with my ability to just keep talking, we'll see how that actually turns out. All right, we're going to start with the Mystic class. In the Mystic class, we really only have one thing to talk about, and that's a little bit of a shakeup in the tier above all. These are just the absolute best champions. I wouldn't be quite as concerned with how they're ranked within there, but I did want to point out I've moved Sorcerer Supreme down. I don't think the game's passed her by. I think she has tremendous use with relics coming into the game. We'll have to start folding that in too. But it's more about the rise of Rintra. Now, this tier list is not based on War, but War and Battlegrounds are my two favorite modes in this game by far. And the more I use him in War and the more I see what he can do in matchups where he's really not designed to handle it, or going up against that conduit global defender tactic, I just see how incredibly powerful this guy is. I've been using him in AQ2, and he just keeps me alive. He's so big, he's so tanky, and he's also healing up. Even if he doesn't crit, if his crit rate is low, he's often hitting for very hard SP2 and neutralize. If, again, you've been paying attention to this channel for a long time, you know that there is an evolving relationship between Mystics and Cosmic, and Neutralize is becoming more and more powerful or more desired. There it is. We see it. I think that's a great spot for him. Could see him even moving up as this game continues to go on. And then the other one is Wiccan. I know not as many people have Wiccan. I don't have a Wiccan myself, but we've seen Bryce emulate using his Wiccan, doing tremendous things. If you're like, what are you talking about? This is another neutralized champion. He's not, I think, is going to be as widely usable as Rintra, which is why we have not promoted Wiccan yet. I could see it happening. If you're curious as to what I'm talking about, go ahead and click on that playlist, or you can just go directly to my channel and check the playlist out on my channel. I've done a early, I guess it wasn't early access, but it was an essentials video on Wiccan. I just really liked the champion, so I did the full early essentials video on him. And then there's some videos by Bryce Emulates showing off what he's able to do with his R4 Wiccan. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Mutant class. And I think in the Mutant class, there's actually been no changes at all. It's such a solid class. You see the breadth of it in that top shelf area. Not much to really talk about. There's no reason to prolong this. Let's go ahead and move on to the Science champions. Scorpion continues to me, in my opinion, to show how incredible he is. I think he's an interesting champion. I'm going to talk about him a little bit when we get to Titania. They're not the same, but you'll understand the parallel, I think, or the example I'm going to use. And that is the emojis there are with the synergies and then also high skill. I'm beginning to wonder if we even need that high skill level up there, to be honest, those emojis. And if you're curious about the emojis, there's a legend in the upper right-hand corner telling you what each of them means. Then moving on down, we get to Quicksilver. I've been talking about Quicksilver for a few months now because I pulled him. I really didn't like him in the beginning. I felt like he was tough to get used to. And then I started used to him, used him in war. I was like, I think he might be the best skill champion. I still think overall, potentially he is. I think we need to see it though. I'm going to start tackling 8.1 with my tournament, kind of moving on to the knockout stage. There won't be as many matches to cover per week. I should then be able to start getting into 8.1. I'm going to try to use him, and I'm going to see how much and how frequently I use him if it's really needed. If not, he'll probably stay right about where he's at because he is that powerful. But he is also complex to play, and you've really got used to his timing with his combos and into his specials. I made a mistake in war recently due to that. And if that's the case, even if you do have that super high skill, why not just use your Scorpion, your Captain America, your Mr. Fantastic, your Spider-Man, and your Human Torches? That's kind of how we look at it. That being said, Quicksilver's amazing. He's awesome. I could see if people want to think he's the best one, I'm not going to argue with them. That is for sure. All right. Now we're going to move on to Titania. DLL did a fantastic early access review of her. It's a fantastic breakdown. He actually had experience playing with her. So if you're interested in Titania and it's like a 30-minute, but it's worth it. If you've pulled her, you're really interested in her, why she's good, what she's good, how to play her rotations, that whole sort of thing. That will be linked in the description, a direct link to DLL's channel. You're going to want to check that out. There's short end of this though, and I've made some notes for myself on it, is the SIG is good with Fury potency increasing against large and extra large champions. We've seen that before in other characters. At high SIG, it's up to a 30% chance to inflict a second debuff of her stackable debuffs. I like signature abilities like that. I like abilities like that in general. Like if something happens, it's similar to me as if you don't lose the resource or it refreshes. To me, this is like 30%. That's pretty good with how many debuffs she can stack. I like that. Then she's got that buff immunity. Of course, you know, Spider-Man 99, Miguel's one of my favorite champions. So I like this buff immunity idea, this concept that's been being worked into the game. It's very helpful. Initially, I did not think it would be, but we've got to a place in the game where it most definitely is. Then here's the thing that just stood out to me about Titania. You just read through her abilities, you're like, wait, what? She can go unblockable, unstoppable, and indestructible. And to make it even better, they're not buffs, they're passives. So as the game is currently, nothing can be done about it. It can't be nullified. A stagger can't prevent that from happening. Anytime you can go and with just 2 of those passives, but to put all 3 of them together, and DLL in this video talks about how to get those haymakers coming more frequently. That's a powerful champion. And then she's got that plus physical damage for each debuff. It's a small number, but the amount of debuffs she can put up, I could see that growing. The reason I compared her to Scorpion is they're not the similar or the same. You don't play them. So please remove that. If this analogy is going to confuse you, just go ahead and skip ahead in the video. But I feel like there's something there in that when I've played her, when I read through the kit, this felt like this is the exact opposite of Hulkling and Gallon. With Hulkling and Gallon, you're like, oh, they've got these immunities. They're going to get powered up from them. They are obviously going to be amazing. I want them. With Titania, it feels more like Scorpion, where it's like, I see things, it feels like this is going to be very useful. It feels like things may be coming in the game, or there's things in the game now where you're not going to realize how powerful this is until you actually use it. I think if you've pulled Titania, really try to learn her and use her and attempt to use her in a variety of nodes and matchups. And I have a feeling that as the game progresses, we're going to see her move up. I don't think she's going to get to tier above all. I would not be surprised if she's moved to the top of super premium, potentially to top shelf. That's just my sense on her. I'm very excited. I hope I pull her in the next featured crystal, and then I can really invest some time into learning how to play her and getting that out there. If you've got her and you feel like she should be ranked up higher, I'd love it if you'd let me know in the comment section, and then let me know why, though, where you're using her, how you're using her, and what against. Let's get that information share out there and going. Okay, that's it for the science class. We'll now go ahead and move into the tech, where the first champion we're going to talk about is Infamous Iron Man. Okay, I'm fortunate enough to have 2 really good friends who have pulled him, have him at high level, actually 3 now that I think about it. I did talk at length with Slaymon about him. You've heard Slaymon on my streams talking about Infamous Iron Man. I do feel like there right now, Infamous Iron Man is kind of almost like a post-hype sleeper. Like the hype coming out on him, I mean, this was a Doom Iron Man combination. There was no way that the hype was not going to be massive on this guy. Just the excitement of him being in the game, right? Even people like me who were not aware of that character were like, I want that character. I want him now. What do I have to do? I'll do it. Then he looks cool and he is good. I think he is actually very, very good. I think he's suffering from a bit of all that hype that we all put ourselves on and we're hoping for. I also think he's a little bit complex. His loop, I think, is not necessarily intuitive. I think for a couple reasons. One, I think it's well oiled. I just think it's not overpowered. And so therefore we're kind of trying to figure that out and figure out how to use that in specific matchups. And then additionally, I think we're used to the Doom loop. And no matter what we do, we keep wanting it to be that. And it just isn't. It doesn't mean it's better or worse or anything. It just means it's not what I think our brains are telling us we think it's going to be. Now, here's my notes on him. Sig ability, I'd even just Sig 1. Get you that aura up. When your aura is up, you have 100% reduction to unblockable. I like that. I always feel like when the champions I'm fighting are unblockable, I feel like their ability to hit me is increased by just the smallest amount. I always feel like I'm missing dexes and things like that. So anything that's helping me counter unblockable, I'm a big, big fan. He's got that incredibly nice heal, and you're going to get that from the high Sig, right? I think it's 35%. Then you work on masteries, it's going to increase that even more. I absolutely love an ability like that, especially for a champion with a high prestige, where you have another motivation to increase their signature ability. So I like the signature ability, and that's why I've included that emoji here on this for him, that I think it's important to have as far as the ring is concerned. And also, you're going to see a boost where he's worthy of it. That's what those legends are for. Now, like I said, I spoke to Slaymon. His channel is going to be linked also in the description. I know he's already taken his infamous Iron Man 2 rank 4, used him in war, and he's in that war video he talked about. He's going to be putting out more videos, and there'll be better fights as he gets more used to him. One of the things he doesn't like, though, and we've talked about this on stream, is that a lot is tied in to this infamous Iron Man's armor up ability, including his immunities, being shock and incinerate, and it's not... I'm not going to say it's easy to, but there's matchups where that's going to get nullified, that being the armor up. And there's really just nothing you can do about it. You have to wait for it to come back, and that removes a lot of utility. To me, though, I get it, and I understand the frustration. I'm not telling someone they're wrong. I'm just talking objectively about the champion. That's the same as what can happen with Guardian, right? And Guardian is still phenomenal and amazing. So I think don't let that detract you from being excited if you pull Infamous Iron Man, or ranking him up if you pull him, but it's something to be aware of in matchups where you probably maybe wanted to use him or something like that. Don't go in and make that mistake, or if you do, you're going to make it once, you're going to back out and probably never make that mistake again. He also then has this really interesting power control, and we've already kind of talked about that loop. I think this is another champion. It's similar to Titania, where I think once we start pulling her, and we being the community, him, we're going to see more and more uses. We'll start seeing those videos coming on YouTube, war fights, battlegrounds, 8.1, 8.2, whatever's going on in the game at that time. And then we're all going to catch on and find out. I would not be shocked if he ends up in the tier above all. I think most likely what's going to happen is people are going to get him. They're going to get him awakened. That signature ability is going to save them or help them save items, defeat a fight, something like that. And we're going to see him move his way up the rankings, definitely above Mysterio. I feel like that's his floor. But as I say in the legend there, or in the spreadsheet, I definitely start champions conservatively. I don't want someone to pull them, see this ranking, see them and like, oh, they're the tier above all. Okay, go out and rank. And then we find out 2 months later, like, that thing I thought was going to happen didn't, or I was wrong. So that's why we start him off right there. I feel very, very comfortable. That's his absolute ultimate floor, and that it probably increases even just with some getting him awakened, stuff like that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the skill class, where we have absolutely no changes. This is the skill class. There it is. Oh, there also will be a screenshot edition posted on my Twitter, probably about 2 weeks after this comes out. I have a channel member, Adam, I really appreciate this. Always puts one together for me, and I put that on Twitter. We did that last month. I saw how much people like that. So make sure to follow me on Twitter, not only to follow the Vega Battlegrounds Championship, but also to get your screenshot size of this spreadsheet. And then we'll move on to our final class here, which is Cosmic. There's a couple of things I did want to talk about. Hulkling, I think we promoted him 1 month or 2 months ago. I think everyone's not seeing it, right? I've been saying for a long time, Hulkling and Gallon were champions. I read the abilities on the CCP, and I was like, oh boy, I want these champions. Because like I said, it was obvious. Like, it was just written in their abilities. Oh, they're immune to this, and they power up from it. I wanted that. Move to Gallon. The reason Gallon has not been promoted to tier above all is it's a couple of things. One is, personally, if I was in charge of rebalancing, I'd leave him alone because I think it was very obvious what he was capable of. I think it took me 2 fights on a pull deck in Cabo San Lucas where I was like, oh my good God, I want this champion. I read the abilities. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is how this is going to work. I did 2 fights. I was on a very lengthy summer vacation. And I was like, yes, I need this guy because he's going to be phenomenal in War and in Battlegrounds, my 2 favorite modes, where the health pools are right about where he can often end a fight in a single special, maybe 2. Now, I also know that there's people who want him nerfed. There are. They're actively seeking it. I think that they're not seeing the kind of the downsides that can be there with Gallon as far as playing him against bigger health pools and the nuance that does go into playing him sometimes. And there's a lot of nodes, particularly in War, that first section, lane 3, that is really accentuating him. I mean, it is the most ideal situation for him, and people keep placing counters that also help him power up. And so as a result, I don't want to move him to the tier above all because I know some people are going to see this. They'll see the snapshot and be like, oh, tier above all. And then if he does get nerfed, I'm going to feel pretty bad. I also think he shouldn't get nerfed, though. And I already gave that explanation. I think it was obvious what he could do and where he was going to be insanely powerful. And therefore, I have to believe it was intentional. But this video isn't about whether Gallon gets nerfed or not. That's just where he is. That's why he has not been moved up. That's the rankings. That's the rankings for this month. When we get the buff, I think next month or the one afterwards, we're supposed to get Rocket out. And of course, there'll be buffs along as we go along. And then the new champions that come out every month. And then as more featured crystals get opened, we'll learn more about them. 8.1, I'll be diving into that myself this month of October, getting that done. Maybe there'll be some movement around, but we did such a great job with that big reevaluation that I think probably not going to see too many seismic shifts in this for quite some time. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I always enjoy. Let me know what I got right. Let me know what we got wrong. Go support that MCoC Illuminati. Slayman DLL linked in the description here. Follow me on Twitter to get that spreadsheet size snapshot. And click on the spreadsheet or just go directly to the playlist on my channel if you're interested in learning more about these champions. Remember, it's just a snapshot. You go play them, you gotta like them, then you rank them up. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.